Welcome back, or welcome to our conversation on health, chronic illness, and autoimmune disease. Today, I'm going to share the first in a series of videos on how acupuncture works. In upcoming videos, I will present the scientific research on exactly what is going on inside of your brain, your nervous system, your muscles, your fascia, and your immune system during an acupuncture treatment. In today's video, though, I'm just going to focus on some really clear common sense. And the way I'm going to do that is to ask you 5 questions about your health and your journey to get well. Do you collaborate with your doctor or your other clinicians? For most of us, when we go to see a doctor, what we experience is about a 5-minute conversation and a prescription for a pill. When you go to see an acupuncturist, you're basically going to see someone who knows your medical history, how you've been doing in the last few weeks, what your major symptoms are, what medications you're taking, what supplements you're taking if you're on a special diet. And that person is like an ally. They're there to support you, reflect back to you how you're doing, what's working and what's not, as well as giving you a treatment that's scientifically proven to affect your health in many, many ways. The reason I ask if you collaborate with your clinicians is actually really important. You need to have a sense of trust in who you're working with, that what you're doing is going to help you, that it matters, that there's some kind of reputable science behind the choices you're making. So seeing an acupuncturist, say every week for a few months, you now have an opportunity to work with someone who is a medically trained professional who can help guide you along your way towards better health. Again, there's a lot more going on with acupuncture than just being poked with little needles. Question number 2, how do you handle stress? I think it's reasonable to say that the way we adapt to life is how we determine our health. And what's unique about acupuncture is it actually has a conversation with your central nervous system and your immune system, specifically about adaptability. Most of us have heard of the fight or flight response and the rest digest response, or your sympathetic nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system. With regular acupuncture treatments, you're actually changing the biochemistry from sympathetic to parasympathetic, and that allows all of the blood that are in your fight or flight muscles to return back into your rest and digest belly, and that actually changes the status of your nervous system, your immune system, and how inflamed your body is that day. Many people actually fall asleep during an acupuncture treatment, and that is pretty clear evidence they're going from a sympathetic wound up place into a parasympathetic, deeply relaxed state. And that's where your body actually repairs itself. So it's important to be able to get your body to go from stressed out to blissed out in a predictable and consistent way. And that may be one of the most important benefits of acupuncture, is that you can predict, if you go, say, every week, to a shift of your entire body's status in a consistent, predictable, and measurable way. Because your instinctual nervous system wants to predict good days a lot more often than it wants to predict bad days. Question number 3. How is your mind-body connection? Are you comfortable in your body, both physically and emotionally? Imagine walking around as if you're limping, and what that tells your nervous system about how you're doing. Or imagine that you're walking around kind of like you're dancing, and imagine how that's going to tell your immune system and your nervous system about how you're doing. That mind-body connection is really important. And there's one scientific term that we use for your mind-body connection, and it's called proprioception. Now that's the thing that allows you to close your eyes and touch your nose with your fingertip if you ever have to. And it also has a lot to do with how your brain and your body understand position, posture, movement, and momentum. So proprioception is actually a really important aspect of that mind-body connection, and it's something that you can measure, and it's something that you can improve. And what's interesting about acupuncture is, while you're getting a treatment, depending on where the needles go, you're actually regulating a kind of conversation between your body in a spatial sense with the rest of your brain. And that changes your proprioception in a very positive way, because it changes in a way how your brain remembers you, and more importantly, in a way, it changes how your brain remembers how adaptable your body is. And that can change everything about your health. Because proprioception, in a way, is kind of the hardwiring of your nervous system, sometimes during an acupuncture treatment, people will twitch, they'll shake, they'll yawn a lot, or some people will actually have a good cry. And that's a necessary part of acupuncture. And you can describe that as releasing energy, or you can describe that as a kind of biochemical kinesthetic release in a more scientific way. But the point is, acupuncture, again, can reset your proprioception and rearrange how your brain remembers you in a more confident and effective way, which helps your immune system a lot. Question number 4. How is your intuition? Now, you may be asking yourself, what does intuition have to do with solving chronic illness? And well, I'm glad you asked. You may have heard of something called blue zones. Those are the areas in the world where people tend to live the longest. Now, there's places in Asia, there's places in, I think in Greece, there's a place in Costa Rica, where people actually consistently live over 100 years old. Now, there's been a lot of research over the last 20 to 30 years on why people in these blue zones live so long. And it turns out, after all kinds of research, it isn't their tea, it isn't their meals, it isn't even their wine. It turns out the one thing that connects all of these people around the world is consistent human connection. As I've mentioned, during an acupuncture treatment, people tend to fall asleep. What's technically happening, actually, is they're falling into a hypnagogic state, which is a state that happens normally when you're just between being asleep and being awake. And that's the time when most of us do our daydreaming. What's happening inside your body during a hypnagogic state is almost like the biochemistry of a really good hug, in the sense that a good hug can help you release some oxytocin or that kind of love hormone into your body after only 20 seconds. Imagine what happens after a 20-minute acupuncture treatment where your body is completely safe, really comfortable, releasing a lot of tension and releasing a lot of oxytocin. And that changes something we call neuroception. Now, that's a new word for most people. Neuroception is the sense we have of other people's body language, their tone of voice, their facial expressions, and what all of that means to us. So if you're in a very stressed out place in your life, it's natural that your neuroception, or part of your intuition, is going to tell you everyone's a problem, they may be out to get you, or something like that. After an acupuncture treatment, after that hypnagogic state, after all of that oxytocin moving through your system, you're naturally going to have better neuroception, or a better sense of intuition on who you can trust, who you can talk to, or probably more importantly, how it is that you can have the conversations you need to have in your relationships to move things around so that you can feel more connected and more patient and less stressed out. Question number 5. How often do you experience play, exercise, movement like Qigong, yoga, or Tai Chi, or even sex? To heal and to learn, your body needs to move both intuitively and instinctually. And this is why things like yoga and Qigong and Tai Chi and exercise are so important and so popular, because the body needs to feel kind of at home in itself, and it needs to predict that it can shake off the cobwebs of modern life. If you can't shake off the cobwebs of modern life, if you can't predict some form of mind-body release and reset, the instinct to move and feel something intense can get you into a lot of trouble. Some of us become adrenaline junkies. Some of us become alcoholics. And some of us fall into dissociative patterns, like watching TV and scrolling on your phone or trying to do both at the same time, just because we want to feel distracted. And some of us fall prey to either illicit drugs or pharmaceutical drugs that just make us numb. Because again, if you can't predict play and movement and fun things like sex, you're going to want to turn your mind and your body off. And that's not obviously a good idea for anyone. Acupuncture can reset a part of your brain called the somatosensory cortex. And that's actually the part of your brain that's the most touched by or shifted by practices like yoga and Qigong and dancing. So an acupuncture treatment can actually have similar benefit to your health and to your life as things like dancing and sex. And if you can't find people to do that with, well, sometimes you can just go and get some acupuncture to reset that part of your brain so that the instinctual part of you feels like it's connected to the world, and it is interested in doing things like sports and movement and play. I have one other question, but before I get into that, I'm going to ask you, please subscribe to this channel, hit that little notification bell, and if you want me to make a video about a specific topic, just leave that in the comments below the video so that I can do what I can to help you out. So after hearing about all of that, how does your mind-body connection feel right now? In this moment, are you feeling any kind of chronic pain? Are you feeling the lethargy and fatigue and heaviness and stiffness due to chronic illness? Are you carrying around any embodied constraint because of trauma? Does your body feel a bit worn out because you're aging? Or are you just tired of feeling a constant sense of distress and inner turmoil? Because acupuncture can help you with all of those things. I've been in clinical practice for 25 years, and one thing I can guarantee is that relief care is essential to healing from the inside out. If you don't give your body a break from the symptoms, the inner turmoil, the chronic distress, your immune system cannot learn to look at the world in a healthy way. I hope that gives you some common sense confidence in how acupuncture works, at least at a very basic level. In future videos, I'm going to get all into the science on specifically how acupuncture can help you with chronic pain and recovery from injuries, stress, mood disorders, and sleep, trauma release and your myofascial system, allergies and autoimmunity, cravings and addiction, and longevity and beauty. Acupuncture can help with a lot of different needs. Thanks for watching this video, and again, please subscribe, ring that little bell, leave a comment or a question, and if you can, share this with people who you think might need it. And I look forward to continuing our conversation in the next video. Have a great day.